How is everybody doing out there? I hope you're all enjoying your Labor Day weekend. It is Saturday, and I'm coming on to the Sports Beat with Richard Holdridge for a special edition. Every Saturday morning, I'm going to have my high school football reaction show, and this will be aired on WQEE on Monday. Just a reminder that this is the Sports Beat with Richard Holdridge, presented by Georgia Alabama Sports Live. And you can catch an episode of the Sports Beat Monday through Friday from 2 to 3 on WQEE 99.1 FM, the key out of Noonan. We have a jam-packed show because I'm on today for my quick reaction on all the high school football scores. We've had some upsets. We had some games that we expected the outcome. Thrift Behringer and I had the privilege to call the Shaw-Harris County game at Danny Durham Field in Hamilton, Georgia. That is also where we had high school game day. I am absolutely blown away. What a high school game day. We had the cheerleaders. We had the drum line. We had a drone flying, and we even had Shaw kickers kicking field goals trying to target the P&B broadcasting van that was behind us. It was an absolutely incredible atmosphere. There was a little rain in the forecast, and we had to bring out the tent. There was a little drizzle. It affected the Wi-Fi on the broadcast, so that one of the reasons why the live video was choppy, but we'll go ahead and get that fixed. We will upload that broadcast so you could rewatch it. I thought it was an excellent broadcast by Thrift Behringer and myself. A big shout out to Rick Beach from Kutsu Sports, who helped out with high school game day and really was the brainchild with the cheerleaders and the drum line. It was absolutely incredible that he was able to pull that off. And also, the Harris County Little League team was honored before the game, and head coach Chris Gilstrap and his outstanding kids that have won 2 straight state championships for Georgia and were 2 games away from Williamsport. So it was just a great atmosphere overall. And you got to give credit to Shaw. Their fans made the trip. And Nicholas Bates, let's be honest, if he didn't go down, I think it could have been a different outcome. It left Shaw one-dimensional. Nicholas Bates left the game with an injury. It was really a back-and-forth game, 7-7, as both teams, offensive possessions, they scored a touchdown on their first possession. And I thought it was going to be an offensive game, a back-and-forth game. Once Nicholas Bates went out of the game, Shaw could not do what they wanted to do offensively. And so Harris County was able to take advantage of that, and they win the game 28-7, as it was a dominating performance by the running back, Matei Yeomans. He had 2 touchdown runs. But Levi Watson with a touchdown pass to Jacob Brown to make it 7-0 in that first half. Miguel Silvilla also had a touchdown run. And Harris County, 2-1, have matched their win total from last year, and they will host Howard of Macon next week at Tiger Stadium, Danny Durham Field. And we hope to be back up in the county. Looking like November 3rd might be the next game where they take on McIntosh. And also October the 6th at Kinnett Stadium, the big rivalry, 2 5A schools in the Chattahoochee Valley, Harris County and Northside. Should be a lot of fun. I'm excited about that. Let's go ahead and break down the scores because we had some upsets. I was scoreboard watching, big shout out to Thrift Behringer's brother, Tucker Behringer, for giving us score updates. We're going to go ahead and start with Enterprise going up to the Duck, taking on the Auburn Tigers. This was a top 5 matchup. I was shocked. I heard that Enterprise was up 14-0. I was like, wow. Enterprise was able to hold on for the upset win over the Auburn Tigers, 17-16, and Enterprise is 2-0 on the season. Enterprise is one of those teams you got to watch out for because they still got to play Central. They still got to play Opelika. There is some great teams in this region. And Enterprise is one of those teams that does compete for a state championship. This is a huge loss. I know that it's a region loss. It could determine the factor of Auburn and seeding when it comes to the playoffs. I still think the Auburn Tigers are one of the top teams in 7A as they made it to the state championship game last season. And remember, they play Central Let's talk about Central in the backyard brawl, having no problem beating Smith Station 51-0. And really, what can you say about Andrew Alford? He has really been an all-world quarterback, making that transition into head coach Patrick Nix's offense. And the Central Red Devils 2-0 on the season. They are looking great so far. Glenwood gets a big road victory over the undefeated Fort Dale Academy, 35-7. Glenwood is 3-0 on the season, and they will take on Bessemer Academy next week. And that should be a lot of fun. I know we're getting a little ahead of ourselves. 2 weeks from now, Glenwood, Lee Scott Academy. That is going to be a massive region game, a rematch of the AISA Championship. And Thrift and I expect to be at the Swamp for high school game day in 2 weeks. So we have Russell County on a bye. All the teams in Alabama. Beauregard gets a win over Central Haynesville, 47-0. We had Lochapoka. They're 2-0 on the season, getting a big win over the Beulah Bobcats, 14-12. And then one of the most underrated rivalries in the Chattahoochee Valley. This is my favorite rivalry because these two teams just do not like each other, and it really means a lot when these two teams play. Valley and Lynette. So Lynette played Valley at Rams Stadium. Valley gets the 41-14 victory over the Lynette Panthers. Valley is 1-1 on the season. Lynette falls to 1-1. Lynette is going to take on Horseshoe Bend next week. Valley will take on region opponent, the Beauregard Hornets. Beauregard is 2-0 on the season. We also have Lee Scott Academy, no problem over Monroe Academy, 51-0. Just great action in Alabama. Now let's swing over to the Georgia side. We talked about Harris County getting the win over Shaw. Down in Columbus at Kinnett Stadium, the Kendrick Cherokees get their first victory of the season. Congratulations to head coach Robert Martin. They defeated the Heritage Hawks from the GIAA 14-0. Down at Otis Spencer Stadium, Spencer loses in a heartbreaker to the 4A school out of Albany, the Westover Patriots, by a score of 20-14. And then we have some games. Max Strong Stadium, First Presbyterian Day defeats Brookstone 46-28. And it is Brookstone's second loss. They go to 0-2. The Jordan Red Jackets were on the road. They lose to Mount Zion 48-6. You also have Calvary Christian. They get their first loss of the season. They lose to Kings Ridge Christian 21-6. And Calvary's next game will be up in Woodbury against Flint River Academy, the undefeated Flint River Academy. And we expect to be there on Friday night. I'm excited about that game. Other games, Schley County, still undefeated, gets the 30-0 victory over Early County. And then the game of the week. This was the game of the week for WTVM. I mean, this should have been the game of the week for the sports beat, but we know that the Central and Smith Station fans stuffed the ballot box. Let's be honest there. I do have a lot of Twitter followers that are Central fans. Troup County and Callaway. Now, when we had high school game day, I went against the grain, and I picked Troup County in this game. Both teams are state title contenders. Callaway won the state title in 2020. Troup County went to the semifinals last season. Two outstanding quarterbacks, Teo Todd for Troup County, Deshaun Coleman for Callaway. Troup County gets the win against the Callaway Cavaliers, 21-13. And Troup, 3-0 on the season. Callaway goes to 1-1. Remember, this Callaway team started 0-3 last year. Both teams are going to be fine. They are going to make a deep state title run. I can assure you that. And a big shout out to Kevin Eckleberry from BTV Sports for covering both outstanding schools. He got on last night and had his reaction show. So follow his stuff, BTV Sports, if you are a fan of all sports up in the LaGrange, Troup County area. He covers Valley. He covers Heard County. Does an awesome job. And so looking down on the list, Let's go ahead and go over to the Noonan schools. I want to make sure to give the Noonan schools some love here on the show because this show is broadcasted on a Noonan station. How about the East Coweta Indians? 3-0 on the season. They defeated Hillgrove 38-10. And guess what? They have got a massive game next week. They are hosting the defending 3A state champion Sandy Creek next week, and that is going to be a massive game. Stars Mill, they get the win over Luella 28-17. Whitewater goes to 2-1 on the season as they defeat Griffin 34-6. Mary Persons in a nail biter defeats Trinity Christian 23-20. And Villa Rica puts Northgate in the loss column for the first time this season, defeating Northgate 24-3. And then you have McIntosh 3-0 on the season. Remember, Harris County is going to play McIntosh on November 3rd, the final regular season game of the season, and they defeat Woodland 37-21. South Atlanta narrowly escapes Heard County 24-21. Taylor County, how about the Taylor County Vikings? 2-1 on the season as they defeat Montgomery County 28-21. Terrell County defeats Greenville 33-22. And finally, Baconton Charter defeats Central Talbotton 53-12. Let's go over to Major League Baseball. This game was late last night. By the time I got home from the Shaw Harris County game, this game was still going on. The Atlanta Braves statement win over the Dodgers 6-3. Max Fried pitched a gem. Ronald Acuna Jr. with another home run. This is feeling like a playoff series. The Braves just threw out their two biggest starters and took down the Dodgers on the road, and they now have a 6-game lead over the Dodgers for the overall number one seed in the National League. I expect these two teams to meet in the playoffs, possibly the NLCS. Who knows? But you got the number one and number two seed going into the playoffs, which we are about a month away, and I am excited. Baseball is my first love. Yes, I am a San Francisco Giants fan. You can call me out on that. That's okay. I root for the Atlanta Braves because I've lived in Georgia since 2006, and I want to root for all the local teams here in Georgia. Speaking of the local teams in Georgia, Georgia Tech played last night in the Affleck Kickoff Classic against Louisville. I was very impressed with Haynes King. I thought that a Georgia Tech quarterback passing for over 300 yards, Haynes King had 313 yards and 3 touchdowns. Now, he did throw a pick, but Georgia Tech looked really good to start the game, but they could not finish the game. They blew a 28-13 lead, and Louisville came back, and they won the game 39-34. But this Georgia Tech team is young, learning under the full head coach as Brent Key has taken over full-time. Really, this is his first year as head coach for the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. And there's going to be some growing pains, but I like the passing of the former Texas A&M quarterback Haynes King. And I think that this is a Georgia Tech offense that we like to see. This is not what Hall of Famer Paul Johnson's offense was like with the triple option. And when having incredible quarterbacks like Harris County's Taquan Marshall and Justin Thomas and Nesbitt, Josh Nesbitt, I forgot his first name, but Josh Nesbitt. This is a much different offense. And it's not Jeff Collins' offense. It's Brent Key's offense. And he is going to get Georgia Tech to compete in the ACC. And we know that the ACC is going to have Cal, Stanford, and SMU. So we'll see what 2024 looks like. I mean, the season's not over. I mean, this is a conference game. They lose to a Louisville team they should have beat. But, hey, it's still a long season. And the Georgia Tech fans came out at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Georgia Tech is going to be fine. I tell you, I have flown by all the games for high school football. Stay tuned. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to have my reaction show for college football. I do want to go over some of the big games that are being played tonight. We have Virginia taking on Tennessee at noon. This is going to be a very emotional game for the Virginia Cavaliers. And what they went through last year was heartbreaking. And I know that this is something that starts the healing process for the Virginia Cavaliers. Locally here in the Chattahoochee Valley, 3:30 kickoff, Auburn taking on UMass. You got Alabama taking on MTSU at 7 p.m. Georgia taking on UT Martin at 6. That game is going to be on ESPN Plus. And so with that being said, really week 2 really revs up. The big game I'm really looking forward to tonight is the Duke Mayo Classic, North Carolina and South Carolina, because you have Drake May going up against Spencer Rattler for the South Carolina Gamecocks, who under Frank Beamer, under Shane Beamer, not Frank Beamer, that's his dad. Under Shane Beamer, the South Carolina Gamecocks were one of the hottest teams, just rolling through the regular season toward the end of the season last year, defeating Clemson, defeating Tennessee. They were on a roll. Can they keep that momentum? Because I cannot wait for that game in 2 weeks against Georgia, the CBS 3:30 game. What can I say? I'm excited. I am actually very excited. I'm here to make a special announcement. So, Thrift Behringer from Sports Visions and Georgia Alabama Sports Live has invited me to go to the Georgia UAB game. There's an extra press pass, and I am going to represent Georgia Alabama Sports Live and Sports Visions, and I'm going to do them proud. This will be my first major college football game as a member of the media, and I am honored to be a member of the media. I felt it was a big deal when I got media credentials to attend high school football games. And this is the next step to where I want to go as a broadcaster. I think attending sporting events as a member of the media is a huge step because we can really go into depth on the coverage on what we want to talk about on the next show. Don't forget that Thrift Behringer and I will have our Georgia Alabama Sports Live weekly scoreboard show. You want to check that out. We're going to try to get another show in with Rick Beach. We're going to talk about the Shaw-Harris County game. This has been a lot of fun. I hope that everybody has a great rest of your day. Don't forget, you can catch a rebroadcast of this on WQEE on Monday. I hope everybody has a great Labor Day weekend, and we'll talk to you later. Bye, everybody.